So we have next an update. I would say the update on the Oracle not cloud.
I feel like we need its own theme music, like the news has for an ongoing story.
Yes. So this one comes from Dark Reading, and the title here is Oracle appears to admit breach of two obsolete servers. I think this is the third or fourth week in a row we've covered this crazy story where Oracle, I think most of the world understands that Oracle experienced a breach, but Oracle continues to issue statements that say our cloud has not been hacked. And I think part of the issue is that the initial actor seemed to either directly or imply, I don't recall which, that the server they hacked was associated with or was part of Oracle's cloud. And the only thing Oracle seems to be willing to say from their part, at least publicly, is that no Oracle cloud servers were impacted and no Oracle cloud customers were harmed. And that is kind of a funny way of trying to distract it from what actually happened, which apparently is that there were two. Apparently, I think we understood that there was one, but apparently there were two servers that they're calling obsolete, which were clearly part of their authentication SSO program, which, as you may recall or may not, was running a very old version of an Oracle Fusion middleware package that had a remote code execution vulnerability in it that some actor had taken advantage of back, I think, in February or March of this year. And um, this has been the subject of lots of speculation because in rumor because unfortunately Oracle's really not been forthcoming about what's been going on. But now there are reports that some customers have actually received a notification from Oracle about the breach. And it, I will say that it doesn't necessarily help matters a whole lot because
Nope.
their statement continues to reiterate that their cloud was not breached and that the data that was stolen was worthless. And
This is fine. This is fine. It's fine.
this is not the this is not the breach you're looking for. So,
I happened
gosh,
to run into our friend Bob the other day, and he was telling me that after the first rumor mill went around on this, the company he worked for was getting third party risk management requests from their customers asking if his company had been impacted by the breach. Now, what I find interesting about that is how could anyone have known, or how could anyone still know? So, random company triggers out a "Hey, were you impacted by this?" to another random company. How are they going to like?
how do you
It's a
answer that?
nonsense, right? Especially in any sort of like accurate, legally binding way.
It's a great point. But I think that goes back to the issue of how do you trust? How does Oracle maintain a modicum of trust here? I don't understand.
Well, especially for you, who I mean, your yacht was cut off by Larry Ellison's yacht. What, like 2 weeks ago
Well, I do
in the
have a bone to
Bahamas?
pick. I do have that bone to pick with him. Yes.
So I can understand why you are beating this drum. But for the average person, yeah, how do you manage your program if you have no idea what's going on? And I think this genie never goes back in the bottle. Like we are so deep in this SaaS world now that that's never going to go away. And Oracle's so big though that I fear they're just going to not learn any lessons from this or be held to account for how poorly they've handled the comms on this situation. I think it's just going to be what it is.
The one thing I will say is that there are already commercials being run in some parts of the US advertising for victims of this breach and telling people that you might be entitled to compensation, which which I find was to be a very American kind of thing. So I suspect that this is going to definitely be litigated, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. But I think we still don't really have a good handle on what the actual systems were that were breached, because again, Oracle is saying it wasn't part of cloud, their Oracle Cloud, and it was obsolete. But on the other hand, we have the adversary here providing data that was apparently as recent as 2025. We have customers who have confirmed that the data that was provided by the actor was valid. Now, there wasn't an indication from those customers of like how old the data was. So it certainly feels like Oracle's playing some word games, and I really feel like that's going to come back to bite them. I know it hasn't yet, but I just this does not give me a great feeling for the people there.
No, I concur. And you mentioned it's going to get litigated. I think more than likely it'll just get settled out of court with no admission of guilt or malice. And here's $20. Go away.
That's probably
Sadly, the lawyers will make money.
well, they always do.
Maybe we should become breach lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get on that. I'm sure there's like an AI course we can take. It'll be fine.
You could play both sides, right? Do the breach and then do the.
That is brilliant. You know, you
Because
could
look,
be.
I mean, who would have better insight on how to defend it than the people who actually committed it?
There are a lot of rumors for many years that some AV companies were putting out viruses for that very reason, but I don't want to go too far down that path. Certain AV company executives are known to kill their neighbors and then die in Belize jails or wherever that was.